Hi all, Jonathan Edwards here, coming to you live on a very bright sunny day. I'm actually down by the river, actually recording this video right now. Reason being is that this is the shadiest part of town that I could find on this bright summer day. Would love to have been just walking around filming this, but the face forwarding camera or lens or selfie lens or whatever you want to call it is it gets quite blurry when it's exposed to the sun. See, okay, it's not that bad because I do have a little bit of shade, but it's not great. Okay, so the reason why I'm shooting this video today is because last Friday I made a decision. I made a very focused decision. I know there's another, it's not called a focused decision, there's another name for it, but let's just say I made a very important decision, and that decision was to undergo a massive challenge over the next 90 days. Okay, so now over the next 90 days I'm going to do a challenge. Okay? First part of the challenge is to get myself my brand new MG ZS HE, but to be honest, there's only 2 rental payments left on that before I can pick the car up. So with that, see what I mean? So I've got to stay in the shade, otherwise there is a lot of sun exposure and it just going to get quite blurry. Okay, so so that was the first part. So the reason why it's part of the challenge is because it is over the next 90 days. The second part is to finally pass a networking qualification, just so that I can say yes, I've done it. I finally got it under my belt after all these years, and there's people that will be watching this and know, oh well, he's been trying that for years, he still hasn't got it, he probably won't get it. Well, I believe that I will get it this time. Reasons why I haven't got it before, mainly I stopped. I mean, one day I wanted to read back in the past, I wanted to specialise in networking. That passion back then phased out, but it's kind of like one of those annoying little things that if I don't do it, then I'm always going to wonder, if I'd stuck to it, would I eventually pass it? So that's why I'm going for it. There is a deeper personal reason for it, which I'm not going to go into, so please don't ask me about it. The third one is getting my IT contract that I'm currently working on extended. There are sort of whispers that are getting louder that it is going to be extended, but there's no guarantee. So for the purposes of the challenge, to me, until I've actually signed the contract to say yes, I've accepted the extension, that's always going to be up in the air as will it be extended, won't it be extended? But again, that will be determined within the next 90 days. And the biggest part of the challenge is I'm going to go from exactly where I am. I'm going to go from zero, as in zero spending, zero no one knows my name, because at the end of the day, I mean, if you live in Bridgend and you know me, then you know me, but you know me, well, you think you know me, but you don't know me as a person. To be honest, no one that I went to school with knows me as a person. I'm just me, I'm just Jonathan Edwards. Don't get me wrong, I mean, there's, I know some good people here, people who will always say, all right, John, all right, Jonathan. Okay, the conversation may not go deeper than that, but some people will acknowledge me. There's people from school that I don't care if I never even see again. But sort of going off track here. Okay, yeah, so when I say starting from zero, as I say, zero capital to get this thing started, a name that hardly anyone knows in Bridgend, and particularly and especially a name that hardly anyone knows in the entrepreneurial world, apart from a couple of people who I have networked and connected with before in the past. But this particular challenge is to right word for it, is to try and attempt and to really go for what one of my mentors did, and that was to build $1 million business within 90 days. Okay, now the difference between us is that then he started with $100, got dropped off in a city where no one knows his name, had an old pickup was given an old pickup truck, a mobile phone, cell phone with no contacts on, and he went on and he didn't just build $1 million business. His business was valued at £5.5 million. Now the main big aim of the challenge is that last part. I want to try my very best to actually, and I can't believe that I'm going to say this, because this has been an idea that's been floating around for some time, but I never really believed in myself or gave myself enough courage or belief to actually do this. But I've got that courage now, I've got that self-belief now, I've got the confidence now, I've got knowledge that, and as far as this is probably the only thing that I'm starting off with, is the fact that I've got the knowledge now of how to do this. See, there we go. Because, I sort of disappear whenever the sun gets on here. So I've got the knowledge in place. I've got a website, which is like my authority site, with products and services on. So products and services in terms of coaching, affiliate programs, done for you marketing services, etc. I've got an autoresponder set up so that when anyone does show any sort of interest, then I do have a way of being able to follow up with them. So I've got that all in place. I've got my social media handles in place for X, formerly known as Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn, which I will be adding, and also Instagram. Okay. One of the main platforms that I'm not on, but I did build a business page on, but from a personal deep down level didn't feel right using, was Facebook. Okay, now there are many reasons why I'm not on Facebook. I'm not going to go into them. That's personal, so please do not ask me about that. I've already explained why I'm not on Facebook, and I am going to build this business and I am going to succeed without Facebook. Okay, and also at some point throughout the challenge I will be looking at going onto Google Ads, etc. Okay, so that's the challenge, that's the plan that I've actually got in place. How I'm going to start this, I've got the knowledge and I've got the systems in place, but how I'm actually going to get started, I suppose that's where it goes down to being resourceful and actually getting started. So tomorrow will be day one. I will be doing a video log of this. So I will start off with day one, which will be tomorrow. I'll try and do as many video logs as I can. But I will not be doing them every day. I'll try and do them every day, but just to set expectations, I don't know if I will. Obviously, on weekends, I'll still try and do as much as I can, while trying to whilst doing personal activities, should we say? And when I say personal activities, I mean going to football, seeing my kids, stuff like that. But I think most of the weekends will include, will have to include some sort of work to actually get this, for me to actually meet this challenge. Of course, during the week, it will be a matter of working on this when I can, alongside my IT contract, and trying to grow and build and scale as quickly as possible. Okay, so why am I doing this challenge? I'm doing it just as my mentor, for the same reason my mentor did, to prove, sorry, let me just go back and focus here. Okay, to prove that anyone from anywhere can start from where they are at a standing point, or a still standing point, and still grow and scale. Create, build, grow and scale, and become successful within a very short period of time. In my mentor's case, and other entrepreneurs that have done this before, that was 90 days, and I'm going after the same 90-day challenge as they did, but obviously mine's going to be a bit harder and a bit tougher, but because obviously my focus is also going to be on getting my contract extended. Can't really say much about focus on the cars I say, because that's pretty much nearly here. But there's also, I'm also going to need to spend a lot of time on my networking, on my Cisco CCNA qualification. So yeah, so that's my challenge: 90 days to get myself my MG, pass my Cisco CCNA, get my contract extended to sort of help out with the cash flow, and of course the big one, building a $5.5 million business in 90 days. And when I say building, I mean getting it all up and running, creating, building, and scaling as fast as humanly possible, and then having the business evaluated. I don't know who I'm going to use as a business evaluator yet. I'll probably it's probably something that I will look at towards the end of the 90 days, but it will not be anyone that I've ever met before. It will not be anyone, that I know of, just to sort of keep things not so well, obviously legal and legitimate, but it's also, so there's no sort of like favoritism or anything like that. Yeah, so that's the challenge. As I say, tomorrow's going to answer the big question of how I'm going to start, where I'm going to start with this, and all the while I've also got to fit my hour and a half gym sessions in as well. So it's going to be one hell of a journey. As my late mentor Bob Proctor once said, you need to set type C goals, which are huge, massive goals that scare you and excite you at the same time. And I'm really excited. Okay, I'm scared. I'm scared to death of actually trying to replicate, or maybe even emulate what my mentor, what one of my mentors did. I mean, my mentor's a billionaire, so it's, but at the end of the day, when he did what he did, no one knew who he was. He had to change his name, go to a place he's never been before. So I suppose the main differences between us is that he had a little bit of startup capital to begin with. I'm starting with pretty much nothing. Then, but of course he had the knowledge and he had the experience of being able to market to anyone, and then turn those leads, into sales. I mean, when I used to do cold calling, I wasn't very good at selling. I'll be honest. I mean, I did enough but this is going to require more than ever. This is going to require every ounce of courage, every ounce of belief, every ounce of focus, every ounce of consistency that I've got, and every ounce of discipline that I've got in order to get this done. I know I can do this, you know, and I will do this. Okay. Now, there will be people that will watch this and say, well, he's been trying to make this thing work online for years and years and years, and nah, he still hasn't got anywhere. It's not going to happen. All I'll say to those people is, okay, if that's what you feel, if that's what you think, if that's what you believe, then please let me know. Okay, but no matter how many people, I mean, I will get some positives, I will get some encouragement, you know. Another difference between my mentor and I is that I've got the resource and the ability to actually reach out to people all over the world. You know, I'm not just reaching out to local people. I'll be reaching out to people all over the world, because I'll be able to market on the internet, and that will make a huge difference. Yeah, so as I say, for those that believe in me, and the people that have got my back, please let me know. If you haven't got my back and you don't think I'm going to do it, again, let me know, because one thing I need a massive amount of in these next 90 days is attention. Okay? Yeah, so this is I do apologize, this wasn't meant to have gone on for like nearly 17 minutes. So, but that is my pre-post challenge message. Here's to the next 90 days, and I will get started on day 1 tomorrow. Wish me luck all. Bye for now.